Well, who remembers the last time we won by a 4-goal margin or more in the league? Well, the last time it happened was somewhere in 2021, Kwame. Am I right? 2021?
Yeah.
Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. That was the last time Manchester United won a Premier League game by 4 goals. That was the first time. That was the first time since 2021. Well, we did it again. And there's a lot to talk about the game that we played against Everton at Old Trafford. The highlights of the day, obviously, Amad Diallo. What a game he had in that game against Everton today. We'll be here to break it down. I'm here with Kwame to do it as usual. We know you are also here to stick with us and enjoy all the analysis that we've got for you here on United and Everything Football. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. We need more of you to subscribe. Please do that for us. So hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so that anytime a new content drops, you don't miss it. You are part of the first people to join, so that you can come into our comment sections and say, I was here first. Yes, it's very, very important. So remember to do that here on United and Everything Football. Kwame, great to be with you on the show today. I hope everything is fine with you.
Everything's perfect. Good weekend. Good weekend, good result.
Good weekend, good result. I wish we could still find some time and talk about the Premier League and everything that's happening. A lot of crazy stuff. The Man City situation looks very, very, very interesting. Where he's gotten Pep Guardiola making all sort of gestures to
the wheels have come off. The wheels have come off. He's pulling a Jose Mourinho. Very atypical behavior.
Atypical. Charlie, I can't imagine Pep Guardiola doing all of those things. He looks so beaten down. He looks so defeated.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's good for us. The noisy neighbors.
He's never been here before.
Never been here before. So we will see how Pep navigates his way out. But that's none of our business. We're here to talk about Man United. Nothing more. Nothing less. So let's make a quick turnaround. When we come back, I'll get into Kwame's head. What did he make of the game and everything that Ruben Amorim has also said in between after the game was played? We'll be right back after this. Thank you very much. Welcome back to United and Everything Football. Thank you for sticking and staying with us. We really appreciate you and everything that you do for us on this podcast. We really do. We don't take anything for granted. Your comments, your likes, and everything. Last time I asked you to give me 100 likes, you overdid it. So I'm going to say it again. I mean, Oliver Twist, I always want more. Stop the video and hit the like button. Just do that. Pause the video and hit the like button. Right now. Right. Okay. All right. It does a lot for us on the channel, so please remember to do that. Anyway, Kwame, what did you make of the game? What came into your mind? I mean, after the game ended, 4-0, Joshua ZIRKZEE getting a brace, and your own man, Marcus Rashford, also getting a brace. What was going through your mind?
You have to go all the way to just a couple of hours before the game.
Yeah.
Just on the ZIRKZEE thing. These leaks always come out before the game, the lineups and all that. So we had seen that ZIRKZEE was going to start from nowhere. No one was expecting that. But then I said to myself, you know what? He said a couple of interviews ago that everyone is going to play. Everyone is going to get a look in.
Yeah.
Right? Because everybody needs to feel like he's part of it.
Yeah.
And also we do need to rotate because of the official schedule and all those kind of things. Let me just recap what's happened over the first couple of games here with our center forwards. Rashford scored from a tap-in game. Højlund did similar, ball across the face of goal, a tap-in. If Joshua ZIRKZEE, as atypical as he is as a number 9, a 9.5 as he calls it, scores a similar goal like that, it tells me that fundamentally coaching was always a problem under Erik ten Hag.
Yeah.
Always. Because it can happen that 3 different center forwards are scoring the similar type of goal in 3 consecutive games. What that means is that there is a fundamental coaching change that has resulted in them
some set of instructions being given.
Yes, the patterns of play, whatever. So I said to myself, let's just see how this plays out. Let's see how it plays out. And the lineup was quite interesting because there was a raft of changes. I think 6 changes from the last game as well.
Yeah.
The only players who have actually played in all 3 games, started in all 3 games, are Andre Onana, of course, Bruno Fernandes, and Mazraoui. I think that's just about it. Everybody else has been rotated. And even with these 3 players, they've been managed, they've been subbed, particularly today. I think Bruno was subbed for 60, 70 minutes. Managerial was even subbed even earlier than that. 56, 50. For those who play FPL, it was kind of like a disappointment. He didn't make it to the 60th minute.
And he had just one.
I know. The back 3 was Managerial, of course, right center back. De Ligt, of course, in the middle, and Martinez on the left-hand side, with Diogo Dalot starting as left wing back, and Amad Diallo starting as right wing back. And in the middle of the pack was a significant surprising change, in my opinion, where he brought back Kobe Mainoo into the starting 11, but he paired him with Casemiro, right? And in front of them was the 2 number 10s of Rashford playing on the right, and then Bruno Fernandes playing on the left, with Joshua ZIRKZEE in the middle. Those were their positions, but in terms of roles, when the game started, Joshua ZIRKZEE did play as more like a false 9 because that is his profile. Profile-wise, that is his role. He wouldn't stay high up the pitch, but rather drop in, allowing the 2 number 10s to run ahead of him. And even at times during the game, especially in the first half, early stages of the first half, he would drop in 10 and then find our wing backs, particularly Amad Diallo, free on the right hand side. It was a tactic that for the first 15 minutes of the game was working. But prior to this, in the interview just before the start of the game, Ruben Amorim did point out that Joshua ZIRKZEE is starting this game, particularly because of the rugged nature of the centre backs of Everton, namely Tarkowski and Brandt White. They would want to engage in a duel, of which we know our other number 9 would always just end up wasting energy and fighting them all the time. Exactly. And Rashford, he has said already after the first game that is not his best position, meaning he considers him as one of the 10s. It seems that one of the 10s, one of them is going to be a winger, from what you've seen. Another one is going to be a traditional number 10. Right? So this time around, rather than start Garnacho, he started Rashford on the right-hand side as the winger, and then Bruno Fernandes as the typical number 10 on the left side. What Joshua ZIRKZEE was doing was he wasn't particularly engaging them, but rather drawing them into the center of the park, right? Leaving spaces for our number 10s to run into. So there were instances where Rashford found himself going over the top, Bruno Fernandes doing similar. Even Amad Diallo off the right wing back position doing the same, getting in behind. I remember when we played against Liverpool, Virgil van Dijk made a particular remark that once they saw Joshua ZIRKZEE on the pitch, they knew that is how we wanted to play. And so they were not moving in with Joshua ZIRKZEE. They were just dropping off him. And he found himself isolated on an island. And we're only playing a wing-back system, so the outlet balls weren't particularly there. On that day, it was Garnacho and then Rashford, who struggled to even find space going in behind because Liverpool kept dropping back whenever ZIRKZEE had the ball. It made his existence on the football pitch useless. But today, Everton's centre-backs did not cover themselves in glory. They fell for the beat almost every single time. And it worked. It worked for 15 minutes. Because this is what happened. After 15 minutes, Everton took over the game. And the reason being that our 2 central midfielders, to me, did not play well at all. They did not control the game at all. The passing was off from both Mainoo and Casemiro. To a slight extent, you can give Kobe Mainoo a reprieve because he did. But then again, you know that match fitness was also a problem. And they lost the ball in dangerous areas on several occasions. You know this Casemiro one-time passing thing, sometimes you just have to calm the ball down, but he wasn't calming down. And it was just turnover and turnover and turnover. And every single turnover almost always led to an Everton chance. But for Everton not having a good striker, because Beto or whatever his name is absolutely useless. If they had a better striker on the day, from minute 15 to minutes let's say 35, they could easily have had a couple of goals. So if you look at the post-match, you would see the coach was saying that today was a day that he felt Everton deserved more because they were very, very good in that first half. After the first 15 minutes of the game, they just completely took over.
Absolutely.
Unlike the game on Thursday where Bodo and Glimt were just lucky with their chances. They were just super efficient. Every half chance they got ended up in the back of our nets. This wasn't the case. Beto had one-on-ones where he just put the ball on the side nets and made a bad decision. Sometimes he's supposed to pass to a winger on the left and he ends up passing the winger on the right. It's just a terrible center forward. I don't know why Calvert-Lewin did not start, but if it was the other way around, it would have been a problem for us.
That's true.
But then how did we come about our first goal? From a set piece. We don't often score from set pieces, but this was a typical post-goal thing, a ball at the edge of the box, and Marcus Rashford was standing there.
Latched on it.
He rushed on it. It was just on the bounce, and then he just managed to just lash it one time. And I guess who got his foot to the ball? Brantwaite, or whatever his name is. See, we've been heavily linked with that guy. And I've been telling you that guy, I'm not sure about him. I get the whole project thing, like he's a project player. But you know who he reminds me of? I can't get Phil Jones out of my head. I don't see anything special when I see him. But people keep on telling me he's the next big thing going to come out of challenge. I don't see it. And today he was absolutely shocking because after that, let's say give him the deflected effort. Fine, just give it to him. It was a mistake. Amad Diallo robbed him of the ball for the second goal. Amad Diallo today was absolutely brilliant. His pressing was just immense. And I don't know what Brantwaite was doing on the ball. It's almost like as if I'm speaking as if he's a United player already. Because I'm disappointed. He got robbed so easily.
He failed the audition, right? At the heart of Old Trafford.
I think whoever is looking at that left centre back position in terms of the future should have a review of how they see him, because I don't think he's the perfect option. Otherwise, Everton have to drop that price to, let's say, 25 million, because that is not a 60 million pound centre back. No way. He doesn't even come anywhere close. Amad Diallo robbed him, and then I think he gave the ball to Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno Fernandes could easily have returned the ball back to Amad Diallo or shot on goal. But he laid the ball across the face of goal for an on-Russian Joshua ZIRKZEE. That was the beauty about his role, right? He was crashing the box. So doing all that dropping deep, all he did at the end of the day is when the ball went wide to our number 10s or our wing backs, he would just crash the box. And in that occasion, the ball was laid to, I wouldn't say on the plate, because he had a bit of stretching to do. But he lashed it. He lashed it right into an almost unguarded net, because there was a defender on the line who was helpless trying to do something. That was for the second goal. And that was a cushion for us because we needed it. The first half did not go particularly well. So I was saying to myself, what has to change? What has to change? And the second half starts. And from kickoff, I think it was just like 30 seconds or something. From
and then we
scored a third goal. In 3 consecutive games, we scored early goals from kickoffs, which is not Manchester United. Very often than not,
we are the ones conceding.
We are expected to concede from kickoffs. But all of a sudden, it's flipped. Once again, the ball went into our half. We got the ball back. We played it into Joshua ZIRKZEE, and he cleverly played it to Amad Diallo. Once again, the wing back or the number 10 rushing in. Amad Diallo attacked the box, and Rashford made this darting run across in behind the defense. Amad Diallo just lays the ball to him on the side, and Rashford lashes in the second goal of the day. I was happy for Marcus Rashford today. I was happy for him because I've been saying for some time now that history beckons, but unfortunately his form has dropped so much to the extent that he's literally fighting for his future. I've said that there's a list of players who are playing for their futures over the next 6 months, of which he's part. The reason being that he's a homegrown player. He has a huge sell-on value if you want to sell him for 100% profits, and he can solve some of the problems that we have. I'm sure we'll delve into a bit of the problems that we have, because there were some protests before the game, which are crucial, of which we have to try and explain to fans as to why they were protesting and what kind of predicaments we find ourselves in, of which led to the protest in the first place. I'm sure we'll do that after.
We'll get that before we.
So happy for him, because see, when the numbers start rolling out, that's when you know the body of work Marcus Rashford has put in to get to this point. The disappointment is that people feel, and I am one of them, that at his peak, this is a time to even hit harder, right?
Yeah.
Be more consistent.
At your peak.
Yes, be more consistent because you have a strong body of work, and this is his body of work. He scored his 86th goal of a Premier League goal today, 86. That's more than Eden Hazard scored. And some people would say, oh, but he played considerably more games than Eden Hazard. You have to go and check the minutes. How many minutes he has played in comparison to Eden Hazard? When he had scored his 85th goal, right? He had just played one more minutes than Eden Hazard had played in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You add a few other minutes he played today to that. That tells you his body of work.
Yeah.
I say we've had some good players, but unfortunately, when you're in a bad era and you go on a run of form which isn't good, being the big player that he is now, people are always going to look at him in a different way.
Absolutely true.
Always going to look at him in a different way. Because if he was putting up these numbers in any other era over the past 3 decades, he would be considered as one of the best Manchester United products ever.
Yeah.
But in terms of the numbers stack up. The numbers really do stack up because 13 goals away from 100 Premier League goals for Manchester United. It's not a mean feat. It's not an easy feat.
That's true.
Right? And he's already on the cusp of being one of the top 10 goal scorers for the clubs in the club's history. So history beckons. All you want to see from him now is for him to have that spark again, right? Get things sorted out. Whatever that is happening off the pitch, on the pitch, get back to playing like the way that Marcus Rashford, we know you to play at your best.
The funny story now is that he has a girlfriend. Usually, I mean, for those who don't know, there's this story about Marcus Rashford. Anytime he has a girlfriend, that is where he goes on a very good scoring spree. And when he was not having a girlfriend in the last couple of years or a year or two,
the things don't go well.
It didn't go well. So please, whatever prayer you have, pray that the girlfriend sticks. Otherwise, you are in trouble.
But if you look at the grand scheme of things, he's been at the club for 9 years, and he's had just 2 bad seasons.
Yeah.
That's the truth of the matter. Like when you actually look at the numbers, he's had just 2 bad seasons. Just that they've come in seesaw moments. From the time that he started playing for the club, he had always been on an upward trajectory up until year 6, and then he had a huge dip.
Yeah,
right. The Ronaldo season, the season we signed, massive dip. Talk about the surgery that he had because he had been playing so many games for Manchester United, the back surgery, blah blah blah. But from then he had a massive dip, and then guess what? The next season he had his best season ever, and then last season he had another dip. So it's been a period of the past 3 years where he's just gone up and down, right? And you're just hoping that for his own sake, he has another up again because we actually need him to have that up. 7 goals this season already. The only person who best him at the club right now is Alejandro Garnacho. And then we put the icing on the cake. Back to the game. We put the icing on the cake by scoring the 4th goal. And it was Joshua ZIRKZEE who put the game away. Once again, thanks to Amad Diallo winning the ball. Relentless. Winning the ball off the other Everton centre-back, Tarkowski. And he selflessly laid the ball onto an on-Russian Joshua ZIRKZEE.
And he puts in the box.
Crashing the box. Sexy finish. One time. Sexy finish just on the side of a goalkeeper. In the end, we made it look comfortable. But when you consider the grand scheme of things, it wasn't necessarily so. But we had a couple of casualties in the second half. 2 yellow cards. I wasn't particularly perturbed about the main one because I felt he's not up to speed, and even starting the Arsenal game may even be a risk. But the Lisandro Martinez one was absolutely, it was unnecessary. He should not have got himself involved because I felt the lit was there to cover, and he instantly knew he had messed up because he held his head. He knew he was getting suspended. So I'm like, if you are aware that you're supposed to stay off,
you need to keep your calm, keep your cool.
You need to keep your calm. We're leading 2 or 3-0. No, 3-0 at that time.
3-0 at that time, yes. So you have to keep your calm. It's very important.
So the 2 of them are going to miss the Arsenal game, and we fortunately Harry Maguire has come back. He did have a few minutes in place of the Leeds, but I'm saying to myself, we have been short of defenders for quite some time now. I don't want match fitness and stuff to be an issue because that's a big game. You need as many fit and informed defenders as possible. He's one of our best centre backs, so to lose him was quite disappointing. But at the end of the day, it was a very good first Premier League win.
Yeah.
Right? It's a 4-0 win. You said it in the intro. First 4-0 win and blah, blah, blah. I'm saying to myself, it's all, I just want to calm down and say to myself, it's all part of the whole new manager bounce. You don't want to get overly excited. And to be fair to our coach, he did not sound overly excited at all because we did not play as well as he wished we had played. And that was quite evident. So, clearly a work in progress.
Sorry to cut you. And I really rate him, or should I say rate him? I really respect him for that. For the fact that he comes across as a very objective person or someone that has very good self-awareness of how things should be. If you're a coach and you lack that, you come and you tell also, that's where I begin coaches sound delusional because we see some, or they begin to gaslight us because you see something, we all see it, but you come to tell us there is progress, there are things going on, and you begin to wonder or doubt or ask yourself questions. Is it the same thing I'm watching? But there's a coach who sees it and says it as it is, that he's not concentrating on just the result, but how we play is important to him, the performance. If you don't put, you know the reason why we are here right now as United fans over the last 11 years where we lie to ourselves. That's the truth. That, yeah, we've won some trophies, cover up a few things, but we don't play well. We don't play well. If you play well, if you're able to play well and you're able to win, that is the point that this coach wants us to get to. Not that we are just
that's the assignment, yeah.
That's the assignment. So I'm sure he's been given the memo. Go play well. Let us see a pattern. Let us see a style of play, and let us see you win games. And that's the most important thing. Today he accepted. We won the game. Fans are happy. We won 4-0. But to him as a coach, he believes that there is a lot more. And if you watch the game and you follow all the commentary around and everything that other people said about the game, you clearly understand that we won, but you can't say that you're going to win. You can't feel confident that this performance can be carried into the next game for you to win the next game. I hope you are getting me. So his ability to see things. He said something in the last press conference at the Bodo England game. I see it as the fans see it as well. Because if you don't see it like the way we are seeing it, you will come and then you
But guess what he said today? He said, I have to tell the fans what it is. Exactly. And the truth of the matter is we did not play well today.
We did not play well.
And then that's when he did make the comparison between the Bodo Glimt game and then today's game.
Exactly.
We deserve, and honestly, that Bodo Glimt game, we controlled the game.
We controlled. I mean, the stats show, everything shows.
Exactly.
From watching it with your eyes and also looking at the numbers, everything showed that we were on top of the game.
Today, the first half could easily have gone sideways.
It could have gone anywhere. It could have gone anywhere. So that ability to accept, because that's where we begin to grow. That's where we begin to see that there are problems. We won, but there are problems and it needs to be resolved. It's not like it was even a close shave, like a 2-1, a 3-2. No, it was a 4-0 win. It's a result that you would say
it's the kind of game where you say goals change
games. Exactly.
So so
the moment the goal goes in,
exactly, the game is completely different.
Exactly. Yeah. But he wants to see us play well. And that's where we want to be. That you watch the game and you're like, okay, that's the Man United team. That's us playing well and beating an opponent.
We've not gotten to that point yet.
We've not gotten to that point. We are working and he keeps talking about it. We are not getting enough training, and it's not. And they are doing everything.
Yeah, we're not training. We are literally doing everything.
Recovery.
We're having our what do they call our pre-season, mid-season.
Exactly.
Basically, we are just playing everybody. We are just putting everybody on the pitch. Just play as you would have trained, basically.
Exactly.
On the go.
So it's more like the instructions I've given you, go and implement it and let me see.
Yeah.
But I had enough practice to be able to put the instructions for me to see. That's why he always says that I am anxious. The anxiety is not an issue.
It's because it is instructions.
He doesn't know how to play out.
You know, he described he described some of the sessions that we are having as not rigorous training sessions, but indoor sessions where even players are made to walk. Because they've done the whole instructions in the room, but he doesn't even want it to be wrong. He wants you to carry it out, but he knows it can't be in the form of rigorous training. So sometimes they even walk in the indoor, trying to mimic some of the actions. So it tells you how difficult the situation is. But I think what he's banking on is the fact that he keeps saying it. These are supposed to be very, very good players compared to.
He refers to them as intelligent players. That's how
intelligence, because he needs that. He needs them to be that intelligent to take up in the information and translate it on the football pitch, especially in games, without necessarily training in that system. Because you're not training. These players have to be like, okay, we're getting the information, we understand it. And come Sunday or come Wednesday, we are implementing what you have spoken about and what we have mimicked, not necessarily what we have practiced.
Exactly.
So he needs these boys, wherever their IQs are, wherever their footballing abilities are, they should bring it out and bail him out. It's almost like they are working hand in hand. I need you. You need me, but I need you more.
Need you more. Exactly. So that's where we've gotten to. And I really appreciate him for his communication and coming out clearly to make us understand exactly what to expect. You know, so if you watch the game and you listen to his press conference, there is some consistency. I mean, from what is seen and what is said. You get it? So in the next game against Arsenal, I'm not going to bank my hopes that sure, we are going to beat Arsenal because we played so well against Everton. I believe we are going to move. I'm also going to be anxious going into that game because I don't know what will happen. Could be anything. Yeah. It could be Arsenal punishing us in a spell where we played badly. Or it could be us punishing Arsenal in a spell where we
improving on the past three games and all of a sudden going up another level. You just don't know how it's going to go.
Exactly. So that is where we've got into. So, but Kwame, what did you make of the tactics on the day and the identity that he spoke about? Is it still visible to you?
No, it's clear. It's clear how he wants to play. The slight variation today was based off the profile of the striker that we used. On paper, it was still the same 3-4-2-1 goals. ZIRKZEE was more like a false nine. That's just how you see, the thing is, he's not going to instinctively, he's not going to be battling defenders in the 6-yard box or in the 18-yard box. That's not what he wants to do. So I think what he did was to allow him to play the way that he wants, right? But expecting more from people around him because he knows you can keep the ball better. That's the improvement on Joshua ZIRKZEE today. You see, in other games where we are even expecting him to keep the ball well, he wasn't keeping the ball. But today, he kept the ball well. On the half turn, he knew what to do. His touches were crisp, sexy. We can't avoid using that word. His touches were sexy. And he got at the end of chances in the box. Especially the first one for me is the most impressive one. You're crashing the box, you're sliding in, you're tapping in the ball. Our strikers should be scoring those type of goals. Man, I don't like strikers who have to struggle and turn and do all sorts of. Me, when I was growing up, that's not the number 9 that I knew. Number 9,
they were laying it for them. You lay it.
They've crossed the ball in, you've headed the ball in.
Some through ball and then you are latching on it and then
you're latching on it. That's number 9. What's all this struggle with turning and then you have to do all sorts of too much work? It's just. But aside that, that's the only variation.
I saw the average positions for the game and it had dropped off. I mean, against the Bodo game, we were very high up
the pitch. Yeah,
we calmed them in their own half and then we pressed their neck. By this time, it dropped off. And I was looking at, you're talking about ZIRKZEE, and as you can see on the screens, you see the center forward where he was. He was a little bit below the left
number 10
midfielder and then the right attacking midfielder. So just as Kwame explained or Kwame analyzed, you could see that when he drops in, it opens up certain, because he draws defenders to himself, it opens up those channels for the attacking midfielders to also be able to penetrate and go in. And we saw Rashford do that a lot more times, where when the channel opens, he's able to latch on or he's able to attack those spaces to be able to pick up certain balls that are played to him. And that's exactly the variation. It tells you that the coach has a bit of a funny way of thinking. I mean,
No,
trying to,
no. I think despite the fact that he has his way of playing, he
yeah,
has also considered the qualities of the players that he
perfect,
has.
perfect,
You have to be fair. See,
perfect.
we are not saying adapt to players. He should
Yeah,
never ever do that.
yeah.
But what he has to do is utilize the players to the best of their
Mm,
abilities, some
mm.
way, somehow.
It's very
Right. So
important.
ideally, I think it also depends on the type of game, the quality
Mm,
of opposition.
yeah.
Because it with barely defenders who would want to sit back for you
Mm,
to come on them so that they can defend with you one on one
mm.
and fight with you. It's you are just wasting
That's
Højlund's
true.
time because he's just going to waste energy doing nothing.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
But
true.
against Arsenal like this, it's to be completely useless playing
Mm,
Joseph ZIRKZEE against those two centre backs
mm.
because those guys don't want to sit back and defend. They want to push you way
Exactly.
up high the pitch. They are
Exactly.
faster than you, they are quicker than you, they are
Yeah.
stronger than you. So you
Mm.
need somebody who can actually run in
Just
behind
get
them
in
with them,
behind them.
run the channels with them, that kind of
Exactly.
thing. So you probably
Exactly.
have to go for a different
So
profile of striker. So that's what he's doing.
we'll talk about the Arsenal game in the course of the week before the game happens. Probably by by Tuesday, that episode should drop for us to talk about the game and all of that. But Kwame, let's quickly wrap it up on this very interesting situation that is happening around the club. I'm sure, yes, people say we are in our part of the world. You don't care about
Mm,
much going fans, but it does have a
mm,
consequence. Now,
mm-hmm,
what happened was a protest before the game. Now, the protest was as a result of a hike or an increase in the price of tickets for
mm-hmm,
normally there is a season tickets that goes out, people buy it, that's fine, but there are
mm-hmm,
some tickets that are still available for fans to buy, and it was increased. Not just that, people were not angry just for that, but young people, children,
mm-hmm.
whose tickets prices have also been hiked. I saw an article or I saw a post by Andy Mitten where he said he had interviewed Sir Jim Radcliffe. I'm not sure. I'm sure in the course of the week, those
To come
those
out.
quotes will come out very soon about the reasons why this has been done. But this is something that has caused. I mean, looking at myself, when I saw the news, I've never been to Old Trafford before, but I felt
No,
agitated.
but Kwame, I'm coming to explain how or why it doesn't depend on which part of the world that you are,
Exactly. So that is
but it
where
still affects us all.
I'm just framing it and I'll ask my question. So this is where we
Okay.
are right now, and this is how things are. And I felt some way. I mean,
Mm.
I felt the price was something else, right? But I'm not sure the Sergeant Ratcliffe and his team will just wake up one day and decide to say, I'm just increasing
Exactly.
that. So, Kwame, what do
Exactly.
you make of all of this? We have about 4 minutes to go.
What we have to know and understand that it is not the fault of Ineos that these measures are being enforced.
Mm,
You know, when you are bidding for something and you don't know the exact things that are going on
yeah.
in what you want to buy,
In the organization, yeah.
in the organization. But when you do walk through the door and then you do an audit and you do
Yeah.
everything and realize the mess, you may not be able to then go through with all your initial promises. You would have
Mm-hmm.
to
Tweak
adapt.
certain things, yeah.
What we have seen Ineos do is try and clean up the mess of the Glazers over a long period of time.
Mm,
They literally just chopped all our money to
mm-hmm.
the extent that they even entered using a credit card.
Yeah.
Credit card. I know
Yeah.
there are some fans who understand what I'm doing,
Mm,
what I'm saying. Because it got to a point where we are literally living on a credit card
mm,
basis and incurring debts, just compounding our debt. The business debt stands over 400 million pounds, and we have an extra 400 million pounds in arrears in terms of transfers that we have to pay for players that we've already bought. We're
yeah.
talking about over 800 million pounds of debt in this club. That is what led them looking for strategic reinvestments into the club, of which people assumed it was going to be a sale, of
Feel.
which SJR and Ineos came to their rescue, literally,
Mm,
because even with their money, their promised investments, we are
mm-hmm.
still on the red line.
Mm,
And we are fighting the new rules in FFP and PSR and all those kind
mm,
of things.
mm.
This is where, for us,
Yeah.
no matter where you find ourselves, right? Me
Mm-hmm.
being in Germany, you being in Ghana,
Yeah.
it affects us because next summer we will want to go and sign players.
Yeah.
Everybody will be interested in us signing players. But you ask yourself,
Mm-hmm.
how are we going to sign players? Which
Mm,
money are we going to use to sign the
mm-hmm.
players? Not just on letters, all this kind of no. That's not
Mm,
how it works. We have to settle at least 200 million pounds out of the 400 million pounds we owe other clubs on players we've paid already
yeah.
in the next 12 months.
Mm,
We have to pay that
yeah.
money. At the same time, we have to find money to buy more players.
Yeah.
Someone will say, but we also have players we have sold to other clubs, and then they probably have to pay us those monies back. But ask yourself, how many players have we sold them for how much? Compared to how much we have spent over the past 5 years in terms of transfer fees. Anthony's and then Sancho's fees, like finished paying, if fans don't know. There are lots of transfers that are not paid in bulk sums. They are spread over the length of the contracts of these players. So after a period of time, you have to pay all those monies back, be it in trenches or whatsoever.
Yeah.
The only way the club can bring money into the club is by increasing revenue, right? And then reducing costs. We are all aware of the cost reduction measures that Ineos have taken, including Sir Alex Ferguson, even laying Sir Alex Ferguson off. They have been reducing costs. Even these people, the disabled society crowd, they've even reduced their money from 45,000 pounds. I think they have reduced every single place, and they can't reduce anymore. The next step is to bring in money. How do you bring in money? In the form of sponsorships. What we have seen Omar Barada do is just gallivant throughout the whole of US, everywhere looking for sponsorships. But there's only that much you can bring into the club. The other way you can do this is by selling off players. We have sold almost our entire academy just to make sure last summer was successful. And we'll probably have to do that again next summer by selling more academy players to be able to make sure that we can still do more business. But it gets to the point where you are exhausting all other measures. The only other measure left to bring in money from the club is from the fans themselves. And that is by increasing season tickets prices or increasing other prices. It may sound unfair, but if you want your club to be able to do the business that it has to do, you want your club not to fall prey to financial fair play, to PSR, to all those kind of things. Unfortunately, that money has to come from us. And that's what has probably led to them increasing the prices as they were. But then I'm sure most and all those other organizations will sit with them. Hopefully, we may even hear more clarity with respect to why they came to that decision. And the Mittens interview with
it's one of the interviews I'm looking forward to.
Exactly, and I'm sure a lot of what I have said will probably come to light.
We'll see. In the course of the week, if that interview comes out, we'll share with you and everything with that. Thank you very much, Kwame, for being a part of the podcast with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being a part of the podcast with us today. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Remember to subscribe, comment, like the video, and share with your friends who are United fans and want to enjoy. We'll see you on the next one or in the course of the week where we bring you a preview to the game against Arsenal. Have a great time. Bye-bye.